As you think about the design thinking and innovation process, you undertake different kinds of thinking along the way. It is important to understand what kind of thinking is required at each stage because it primes you to be open to new possibilities that you may otherwise dismiss as simply not being feasible due to your prior experiences. Diverging is needed when you need to be generative and creative, both individually and as a team. Here you need to allow yourselves to combine and remix elements without judgment in order to trigger further interesting thinking and ideas. Converging is needed when you need to make decisions and move forward quickly. You need to prepare yourselves to prioritize best concepts and ideas whilst letting go of other ideas and concepts. After testing your ideas, you may even find that previous ideas and features come back in new forms. Diverge. When in empathize step, your thinking goes broad and wide to consider and understand the many needs and problems of your users or consumers. Converge. Once you move on to the define phase, thinking converges down to a single challenge statement based upon your initial insight gathering. Diverge. In the ideate phase, your thinking again diverges far and wide in order to generate a broad number of good and bad ideas that can be used to finally converge and select a single concept to take forward. Converge. In the prototyping step, you again converge thinking to help you come up with a way in which to cheaply and effectively build ways to test your fundamental assumptions within your concepts. Diverge. In the testing phase, you allow yourself to diverge openly in order to receive constructive, critical feedback, knowledge and insights from your users and buyers. So, as you can see, at each stage of the design thinking process, you have to consciously reflect and allow yourself as an individual and team to think broadly and narrowly as required. This ensures that you get the most creative thinking and outcomes needed to solve your specific customer or environmental challenges. It is vital to know what kind of thinking stage you are at and why, as a team, you should nominate someone in your team to keep an eye out for the wrong type of thinking for the stage that you're at across the design thinking process. This person will call out when they spot the wrong thinking and will make sure you're running the progress optimally. The design thinking approach to innovation is presented as a linear process, but in reality it is a highly iterative process that runs back and forth between the customer and your multidisciplinary team. It requires you to be flexible and adaptive whilst pivoting your propositions and concepts based upon your early learnings and invalidations with customer feedback both internally and externally. Design thinking has been particularly useful in the business context as it allows teams to get away from problem-solution based thinking. Engineers, for example, are prone to spotting a solution, then immediately coming up with the solution. This is normal and how they're required to work, but with design thinking, this kind of solution-driven mindset can cause problems. Typically, when a large organization is faced with a problem, it will leverage the knowledge and expertise of the internal team to find the quickest, most effective way of solving the problem without delay. People, time and resources are then devoted to creating a solution that the team believes will best solve the problem once launched. Here are some of the key differences between business and design thinking. Business thinking breaks things down. Over-analysis and priorities. Customer already validated. Linear waterfall approach. Risk reduction by pre-analysis. Decisions on team experience. Design thinking builds things up. Insight-driven analysis. Customers to be validated. Iterative non-linear approach. Risk reduction by validated learning evidence. Decisions on data, feedback and insights. As you've seen during the innovation chapter, traditional business thinking oftentimes creates unnecessary risk within the process. This is because you plan for how the solution will function along with its spreadsheet business model well ahead of development. In reality, things never play out as planned. The problem-solution way of working is full of untested assumptions, and there is a huge probability that your final outcomes will not solve the original problem in a way that a user or customer is willing to adopt or even pay for. This problem occurs because you only get validation on whether or not the solution actually solves a need in the first place right at the end, once all your resources have been spent. To counter this, design thinking uses something called abductive thinking. Abductive thinking is a way to make probable conclusions about what you know by making value-driven inquiries from your own actual research gathered. In other words, don't assume, check. Abductive thinking is first used to fully understand the context of your intended problem space. You then take these insights and derive a clear understanding of the real problems at hand, often from a deeper emotional level. Once defined, you allow yourself to come up with many ideas and concepts to solve the intimately understood problem.